Thank y'all for tuning in to the Zeke podcast. It is your boy Zeke back again with another video. How y'all doing tonight? Man, I want to talk to y'all tonight. By the way, man, welcome to the podcast. This is the best podcast in Springfield, Illinois. It's your boy Zeke. I can only be me. You know what I'm saying? I can't be like nobody else but me. I really want to talk about the hip hop culture. You know what I'm saying? I think a while ago I talked about the hip hop culture, but I really want to talk about the hip hop culture, especially, the hip hop culture rap from the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Even, back then, how it didn't change. A lot didn't change over time. Things ain't the same the way it used to be. Different sounds, different rhythms, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got different sounds. A lot didn't change over time. So, you know what I'm saying? But I really want to talk about the hip hop from the 90s. See the difference back then, hip hop, the hip hop culture back then in the 90s, they had their moments, but the songs that they put out had a message. It had substance in it. You was able to relate to it. It was genuine. It was real. It was coming from a real it was coming from a real place, man. It was authentic. It was real. These rappers from the 90s, they was more of a storytelling. They told stories in their lyrics in the 90s. And then in the 2000s, it was that lean with it, rock with it, lean with it. You know what I'm saying? It was that bounce, it was that, hey, you know what I'm saying? That snap your fingers, do your step, you know what I'm saying? So you see how over time the hip hop culture has really changed, you know what I'm saying? And then, Little John with the, you know what I'm saying? A shout out to Lil John and the East Side Boys, Lil John back in the 2000s, you know what I'm saying? Rap has really changed over time. The music has changed over time. And now you went from you had the crunk era in the 2000s. And then now, you had that trap music with Jeezy and Gucci Mane. And then, it went from the drill music and, Chicago started that drill music. And then it just went, it just, after that movement, it just wasn't the same. But a lot of the OGs is coming back. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna talk a little bit of the OGs that the ones that made an impact in the hip hop culture, like Ice Cube, Scarface, Dr. Dre, R.I.P. to Eazy-E, Pac, R.I.P. to Pac and Biggie, the R.I.P. to DMX. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna talk about the different ones that I grew up listening to as a kid, especially back in the 90s in that time. You know what I'm saying? It was so different then. Then you had Bone Thugs and Harmony, you had Do or Die, you had Twister, you know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing about that, I used to always think Twister was with Do or Die, but he wasn't really part of Do or Die, but I used to think he was with them, because he always did music with them. They always worked together. You know what I'm saying? So I used to, all these years, I did not know Twister wasn't really part of Do or Die. That's crazy. And they used to always do music and videos together. But I really want to talk about the ones that I have grew up on as a kid, especially, you know what I'm saying? And talk about how, music was it was so different back then. You know what I'm saying? Even though they had their moments, like Too Short, he was being real. He talked about what was real. But even though his songs, his lyrics was kind of little, nasty, but I mean, and Uncle Luke, you know what I'm saying? But they kept it real, you know what I'm saying? But far as like the hip hop in the 90s, they talked about what was really going on in the streets. It was more substance. They gave a story of their life. They rapped about their life pretty much. And I'm seeing a lot of, a lot of rappers, they're trying to bring it back. You know what I'm saying? Some of them trying to bring it back. And shout out to the ones, man, that's really trying to bring that substance back into the hip hop culture. Is hip hop kind of been off balance for quite some time. And thank God for the OGs that's coming back, trying to bring that balance back. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to bring that balance back. And I think, some of the OGs, I'm not going to say all of them, because all of them, they're trying to keep up with the new age, the new era that we living in. the new age, you know what I'm saying? But thank God for the ones that is trying to come back and bring that substance back, you know what I'm saying, into the hip hop culture and rap about what's real, you know. And I'm finna get to it, man. I'm finna get to it. Thank y'all once again for tuning in to the Zeke podcast. It's your boy back again, you know what I'm saying, bringing y'all another video, you know what I'm saying. Thank y'all for y'all love and support. Thank y'all for the ones, you know, thank y'all the ones that's been rocking with Zeke since I started doing videos, you know what I'm saying. I appreciate y'all so much, man. You know, I'ma always give y'all a hand clap. You know what I'm saying? Even the ones that, you know, that subscribe to my YouTube channel, you know, I'm gonna keep on grinding. I'm gonna keep on going, man. I'm gonna keep on pushing. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna quit. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stay consistent, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, uh it's a true saying, you know, staying consistent will take you a long way. Things eventually, you know, you're gonna get your breakthrough eventually when you stay consistent in your platform and what you're good at doing. And I'm really proud of myself because, like I said, I have really seen the growth since I started doing videos. You know, God put this in me. But I'm finna get to it, man. I'm finna talk about the different ones. And the first one I want to really talk about is my favorite, you know, my favorite hip hop artist, you know, actor, you know, songwriter, you know what I'm saying, from the 90s, Ice Cube, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? Ice Cube, you know, he's the icon from the West Coast, from LA, you know, South Central LA. You know what I'm saying? And he's man, I could name so many, you know, the songs. My favorite song is Today Was a Good Day. And that song and that video, it was just like to me, that video, it's a you know what I'm saying, it's a classic. I mean, it was more like a movie to me, you know what I'm saying? Because Ice Cube, he put so much, the content was just like off the chain, how he put so much into that video. And it just had so much substance and meaning to it. And to where it just made a major impact across the world, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like, to this day, people still listen to it. And to this day, I still listen to it every now and then. Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. You know what I'm saying? Man, that was one of my favorite videos as a kid from the 90s. You know, Ice Cube, he really set the stage, man, for a lot. He really opened up a door. He really opened up doors for a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? And you know, far as and then he got into the acting. You know, Ice Cube is an icon, man. He's very motivational. He's very inspirational and motivational, man. Like you know, just by seeing him and where he come from, you know, just make it and become so big in the industry and made a major impact in not only just in hip hop but in the acting as well. You know what I'm saying? He was somebody saw the, you know, somebody discovered the greatness that was in him, which is John Singleton. R.I.P. to John Singleton. You know, he discovered Ice Cube. You know, he went from a rapper, and then I believe I watched one interview of Ice Cube. He said, you know, he didn't think he was going to be a good actor. He didn't see it in him. You know what I'm saying? And John Singleton saw it in him. He said, it's in you. And ever since then, man, like my favorite movie, Boys in the Hood, with Ice Cube and Cuba Gooding Jr. and Morris Chestnut and Lawrence Fishburne, and man, Nia Long was on there. Man, the list goes on, man. So man, hands down, man, Ice Cube, one of the best, one of the icon legends, man, out the West Coast, man. And you know what I'm saying, in the videos and the movies that he, you know, did and played on. Man, so man, Ice Cube was one of my favorite artists, hip hop artists and songwriter and actor from the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta give it up to Ice Cube, the icon, the legend, man. Yeah, the list goes on, man. You know, the list goes on. And I want to talk a little bit about and of course, man, you know, um, who else, man, I want to really talk about. Easy E kind of died a little before his time. You know, he did his thing, but Easy E really didn't. You know, but he left a really major impact. You know what I'm saying? They was all in the group together with the NWA, and you know, and Easy E, you know, he signed the best. Like, Easy E left a legacy, and he discovered Bone Thugs and Harmony. And and for those that don't know, and for those that do know, I'm quite sure everybody that grew up in my era know about Bone Thugs and Harmony. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And Easy E made that major. He left a major impact, man, in the hip hop culture. And it was sad that his time was cut short. You know what I'm saying? But his legacy live on. And Little Easy, he, shout out to Little Easy, his son, man. Like, that's carrying on his father's legacy. That's a blessing. And then Bone Thugs and Harmony, they carried on his legacy. They carried on his name. His name gonna be forever remembered. You know what I'm saying, through generations. Even though he passed, so early, his time was cut short so early. You know what I'm saying, but man, so hands down, man, one of the Easy E was one of the, one of the greatest, what I'm saying, out the one of the legendary icons out the West Coast as well. And then you got Snoop Doggy Dogg, Snoop Doggy Dogg. They call him Uncle Snoop now, still doing this thing. Snoop, man, and man, Snoop played on so many movies. I think one of my favorite movies Snoop Doggy Dogg played on is Baby Boy. You know what I'm saying? And when he was what I'm saying, he played on Baby Boy, and he played on Purple. Um they in this big old purple jet. You know what I'm saying? I can't think of the name of the movie. But I think the name of the movie is Purple Jet, if I'm not mistaken. Snoop Doggy Dogg, he was the pilot. He was one of the drivers on this big purple pimp jet. You know what I'm saying? Snoop, man, he's definitely an icon, still doing this thing. The owner, I think he owned Death Row Records now. I know back in the day it was Suge Knights. He was the owner of Death Row Records, and Snoop became the he's the owner of Death Row Records. So man, hands down, shout out to Snoop Doggy Dogg, man. I gotta give him his flowers, man. Uncle Snoop still doing this thing. I think he was just in Springfield back in August. He was in Illinois. He performed out at the Illinois State Fair. You know what I'm saying? Man, the list goes on, man. We gotta get in. I gotta give it to Tupac, and man, one of the best iconic he will ever be remember. He will never be forgotten. Pac, man, he left such an impact and a legacy. Man, songwriter, actor, Pac was just, man, he was the motivation to all. You know what I'm saying? His name still lives on. His legacy still lives on to this day. Even new generations, know about Pac. Man, I think my favorite song Tupac did was Dear Mama. To this day, that song just really touches me, man. It just really just like, it's something about that song, Dear Mama. You know what I'm saying? And the lyrics, man, to that song, it was just like, man, it was just so, you can relate to it. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. That's why I love music, hip hop back in the 90s, because it had so much meaning to it. The music, you was able to relate to it. You know what I'm saying? It just do something, it just touch your soul, you know what I'm saying? Because you can relate. And Pac, when he did that video, Dear Mama, it was real. It was real. It was so much, it was genuine. It was so real, man. And to this day, man, that song still go hard in 2025. You know what I'm saying? I think that was one of my favorite videos Pac ever did, was Dear Mama. And then Things Will Never Be the Same. That was another video, man. Pac he done dropped so many good videos. And then Sucker for Love. I think he had already passed. I think that video came out in 1998 when he was a cartoon animated character. Pac, Sucker for Love. For those that don't know, man, go look up that video, man. It came out. It's a classic. It's a classic. It's almost 30 some years. That was almost 30 some years ago, man. Pac didn't left so much, man. He didn't left a major impact and a legacy, man. And his name will never be forgotten. Hands down, man. Shout out to Pac, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Man, I could talk about some good ones, man. And one of my favorite artists is out in South Houston, out of Texas is Scarface. I wanted to talk about Scarface, man. And I think he started with the group Ghetto Boys with him, Scarface, Bushwick, and R.I.P. to Bushwick and Willie D. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them, man. Shout out to Willie D. Man, they was called the Ghetto Boys back in the 80s. I think in the late 80s, they had that video. That video used to scare me though. It was called My Mind Playing Tricks on Me. And you know what I'm saying? That video used to scare me when I was a kid. But anyway, but man, Scarface, man, was so different. And his videos had it. He knew, he had a lot of spirituality in his videos as well. If you really check out his old videos, especially back in the 90s, when he talk about it, when I never seen a man cry till I seen a man die. You know what I'm saying? That video, and you know what I'm saying, that was pretty scary too back in the 90s. I mean, but it had meaning to it. You know what I'm saying? It had substance in it. And I think one of my favorite videos that Scarface did was Smile on Me with him and Pop. Oh my God, they snapped on that. You know what I'm saying? Just Smile on Me, man. They don't make music like that no more, man. I'm talking about it comes from they really put they all into it, like from their soul. You know what I'm saying? That just, man, I can hear that melody. Dun, 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 you know what I'm saying? I can hear that melody in my head. I can hear that song playing in my head now. But man, that song, man, went. That was one of my favorite songs when I was a kid. And then, Don't Believe That Song, Gangsters Don't Live That Long with him and Ice Cube. That was a good one too. Scarface drop. That was one of my favorite videos too when I was a kid. It had substance in it. You know what I'm saying? It was so different back then. You know what I'm saying? Man, it was so much different back then. The music now and back then, it had more meaning to it. They was giving a story. And even, you know what I'm saying, with Mac 10, you know what I'm saying, and man, these are legends, man, that I'm naming. But even, you know what I'm saying, even with Mac 10, his video was funny when he had on that cape and he was flying, he jumped off that roof, Mac 10 to the rescue. Man, that was so funny, man. The videos, boy. And then, man, shout out to, man, oh man, Mac 10. He another legend, man. And then shout out to man, E40. E40 was another legendary from the West Coast, man. E40, man. Man, shout out to E40, man. He's still doing this thing too, man. But he was really definitely an icon from the West Coast, man. And how he used to rap, Captain Saver. You know what I'm saying? That video, that was the cut back in the 90s. E40 really dropped some dope music, man, back in the 90s, man. He was a legendary too, man. E40, Too Short, and man, the list goes on, man. But man, but if I had to pick and choose out of all them, I had to go with Ice Cube, man. Ice Cube, one of my favorites out of all them, and Pac. You know what I'm saying? He my second favorite, but Ice Cube, one of my favorite ones, man. Hands down. You know what I'm saying? All them left a legacy, man. You know what I'm saying? All the music from the 90s, it had meaning and had substance in it. They was giving more of a story. You know what I'm saying? So man, shout out to the legends and the icons, man, especially, the ones that made a major force and an impact in the hip hop culture, man, like Master P out the South, and you know what I'm saying, and Master P doing he came out with the Ice Cream Man in the 90s, and he got off into the movies and the acting, and then he brought his whole team from his own, his hometown, New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? P definitely left a legacy. I was a No Limit fan. You know what I'm saying? Master P, hands down. He started hustling, selling CDs out the back of his trunk. You know what I'm saying? And he kept on staying consistent. He was a hustler, man, and he didn't give up. And he reached, and now he became the co-founder of No Limit Records, No Limit Forever. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Master P, man. Man, you know what I'm saying? Like, Man, this is man. I could name so man. I could talk about man the hip hop culture, man. I could talk about this all night, but I ain't gonna be too long, man. So I just wanted to talk about the ones that I just mentioned. I gave, I talked a little bit about the ones I just mentioned. You know what I'm saying? So man, I thank y'all once again for tuning in to the Zeke podcast video, and definitely, man, I will see y'all on the next video. Let's get it.